Hello folks, thanks for stopping by. Today's an easy one. It's a question and answer section. Now, in the comments, people are asking a lot of questions. And it's easier for me to just make a video about and answer these questions than to sit there and type it all out. This way, with the video, some of you might benefit as well because you might have the same question. And feel free to reach out to me. You'll find my contact on episode 12. Okay? So here's a skinny on me. I'm left-handed, right? I shoot, my go-to position is stick right 1 or stick right 2. My landing zone is covered in the landing zone video, but I usually shoot at the corner where the dealer is, low to the base, the lower 2 row of the alligator, or right when the back wall meets the table, the tabletop. That seems to give me the best result, and the dice seems to stick in the landing. It doesn't roll around that much. Or sometimes I just bypass the table directly and hit the back wall and let the dice drop to the table. Now, sometimes when I use the forward rotation and sometimes when I use the backward rotation, it depends on what my gut feeling is telling me or what dice combination I use. If I'm using the kissing set, for example, the 4-2-2-4, 6-3-3-6, I would toss that to the corner of the back wall and I would use the backward rotation. All my tosses are at a low arch, low to the table. If I'm using the hard way set, I would use the forward rotation 95% of the time. Because if I use the backward rotation on a hard way set, I tend to double pitch. Now, on the all 7 set, I would use the slide toss, which I would toss it flat to the back wall as hard as I can so they can kick the dice apart. So again, it depends on what dice set I use and what I feel and what the outcome result I desire. My toss are low with an arch. The only time I don't use the arch is when I'm using the 2-2-3-3 hard way set. I would toss that as fast as I can and hit the back wall with the most rotation I can get it to, a backward rotation, and have the dice kick back as hard as can from the corner of the back wall. Okay? And when I do the slide toss, I would line the dice up like a train and I would toss it as low as I can to the back wall, trying to hit the base or the lower, the first level of the alligator. Now, how much of these mechanics affects the dice outcome? It affects it 100% because without you putting energy moving the dice does not move. It has no energy of its own. And it depends on how you hold the dice, what angle you give it, how much energy, etc., etc. It affects it 100%. It might not give you the right outcome you desire 95%, 80%, 70% of the time, but it affects it 100%. So, for example, if I use the 4-2-2-4 set, I know from experience of tossing that gives me a lot of 6, okay? If I use the 2-4-4-2, that gives me a lot of 8. But I can't say that either or will give me one or the other all the time, okay? So I just use the 4-2-2-4 because that's a higher SOR for me than the 2-4-4-2, okay? So there's a difference. These might be the same set, but they're totally different. Just like just like this. The 6-3, the 6-3-3-6. Now I know that the 6-3-3-6 give me a lot of field numbers. Okay. And the 3-6-6-3 also give me field number, but not as much as that. And this gives me a higher SOR than this. So it depends. So what I would do, I would go to what I know works, what I have confidence, I would use this instead of this. And that's just me. So the only way to know for sure what works for you and what doesn't is to practice and experiment and stop taking notes and write it down. Now, different places have different tables. Some have hard tables, some have soft table. Hell, I even see a table at one location that has a soft table on one side and a hard table on the other side. Meaning one table with the left of the stick is hard and the right of the stick is a soft. See what I mean? Not all tables are built differently. I mean, not all tables are built the same. It all depends. So when you go to your regular place and you practice and you spend your money, you need to take note. Say, okay, this table at this position is a soft table. I know what set to use. This table is a hard table. I know what set to use. I know how to adjust my play. You adapt to your environment, okay? All right. Now, my setup, my table I use is 4 foot by 8 foot. Okay, it's set up for a soft table because where I play, a lot of the table are soft. So I need to simulate real world environments as close as possible. And my landing zone, you'll find the video on the landing zone video. That'll go into more detail. When I practice, I try to practice how long I can maintain control of the dice. I'm not out there hunting for the numbers. Okay? I just want to max out my SOR, switch set, go to another SOR, max out, etc., back and forth. Okay? My goal is to hit 60 row consistently all the time. So that way I can take down the house. Because what I usually do, I just keep pressing until I reach table max. And then I collect. Now, if you know your SOR, then you know when your money's at risk and when it's not. That's the key. And the only way to know your SOR is to practice. The more you practice, the better you become at it. But you need to practice correctly, okay? A lot of people just pick up the dice and they toss, and it's an empty table. There's no chip laying on the table. That's great. That works for them. But when I go, I always have a full table. The chips are always laying in the way. So that's why I practice with chips on the table. So I can read the reaction between the dice and the table and the obstacle that's blocking the dice. You try to practice as close as possible to real world simulation. Okay. Now, as far as the pressure that I'm using to throw, the energy, the force, it all depends on the dice set and what I want to achieve. If I'm using the 2-4, 4-2 set, the kissing set, I would try to do a medium arch and hit the back wall first and then drop to the table. That seems to give me more 6 and 8, okay? Now, if I'm using the 6-3-3-6 set, I would toss and aim for the base of the back wall and have it kick back a little bit with less energy. That seems to give me a lot of feel, okay? So you see what I mean? It all depends on what set you use and what you want to achieve. And the only way you know for sure is practice. So keep on practicing. Now, a lot of people say, this is the best set for this is the best set for that. You got to use this set, that set, and everything. What is the right set for you? Is the set that you're comfortable with the ones you have the most SOR, the one you practice the most. But I'm telling you, you need multiple set. It's like a baseball pitcher, right? If all he has is a fastball, and that one day everybody's hitting all his fastball, he needs to be able to change it to a curveball or a slow ball, right? If all you got is a fastball and you're not doing well, then they got to change the pitcher. They got to bring somebody else because they already got your number. And I found this the hard way when I got started. All I was using was a hard way set. And I was getting slaughtered no matter where I go. But I couldn't change anywhere else because all I've been doing is practicing the hard way. So from that day on, I started developing more set, started using more ammunition in my arsenal. Okay? And that seems to prolong my throw. So if you have questions, type it in a comment or give me a call. I'll answer you personally. Or when there's enough questions like this, I'll make a video on it. So again, keep practicing, build up the skill. And one day you'll achieve your goal. The difference between a goal and a dream is something you just think about. A goal is something you write down. Okay, a goal requires action. So take the action. Take the time. You can't beat the game if you don't show up for practice. So show up for practice. If you need help constructing your table, give me a ring, reach out to me. Or if you want, I can make a video of how to construct a table. My table is set up so that way it can be easily disassembled or reassembled. Because sometimes I need the space, you know. You just can't have the table all the time if you're having guests there. They need the room. So that's how my stuff is. And again, good luck. Take care.